The matrix is a system, Neil. That system is our enemy. When you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it. Were you listening to me, Neo? Or were you looking at the woman in the red dress?
I was...
Look again. Breathe it.
This isn't the Matrix.
No. It's another training program designed to teach you one thing. If you are not one of us, you are one of them.
What are they?
Sentient programs. They can move in and out of any software still hardwired to their system. That means that anyone we haven't unplugged is potentially an agent. Inside the Matrix, they are everyone, and they are no one.
We have survived by hiding from them, by running from them. But they are the gatekeepers. They are guarding all the doors, they are holding all the keys, which means that sooner or later, someone is going to have to fight them.
Someone.
I won't lie to you, Neil. Every single man or woman who has stood their ground, everyone who has fought an agent has died. But where they have failed, you will succeed.
Why?
I've seen an agent punch through a concrete wall. Men have emptied entire clips at them and hit nothing but air. Yet their strength and their speed are still based in a world that is built on rules. Because of that, they will never be as strong or as fast as you can be.
What are you trying to tell me? That I can dodge bullets?
No, Neo. I'm trying to tell you that when you're ready, you won't have to.
Greetings, citizens of the world, citizens of the internet, and all participating members. We are anonymous. Since the Act of 1871, which established the District of Columbia, we have been living under the United States Corporation, which is owned by certain international bankers and aristocracy of Europe and Britain. In 1871, the Congress changed the name of the original Constitution by changing one word. Some people do not understand that one word or two words makes a difference in any legal document. It makes a critical difference. Congress has known and does know of this. 1871, February 21st. Congress passes an act to provide a government for the District of Columbia, also known as the Act of 1871. With no constitutional authority to do so, Congress creates a separate form of government for the District of Columbia, a 10-mile square parcel of land. The act passed when the country was weakened and financially depleted in the aftermath of the Civil War, and was a strategic move by foreign interests, international bankers, who were intent upon gaining a stranglehold on the coffers and neck of America. Congress cut a deal with the international bankers, specifically the Rothschilds of London, to incur a debt to said bankers. Because the bankers were not about to lend money to what they thought to a floundering nation without serious stipulations. So they devised a way to get their foot in the door of the United States. The Act of 1871 formed a corporation called the United States. This corporation, owned by foreign interests, moved in and shoved the original Constitution into a dustbin. With the Act of 1871, the organic Constitution was defaced. In effect, vandalized and sabotaged. When the title was capitalized and the word "for" was changed to "of" in the title. The Constitution of the United States of America is the Constitution of the Incorporated United States of America. It operates in an economic capacity and has been used to fool the people into thinking it governs the republic. But it does not. Capitalization is not insignificant when one is referring to a legal document. This seemingly minor alteration has had a major impact on every subsequent generation of Americans. What Congress did by passing the Act of 1871 was create an entirely new document, a constitution for the government of the District of Columbia, an incorporated government. This newly altered constitution was not intended to benefit the Republic. It only benefits the Corporation of the United States of America and operates entirely outside of the original organic constitution. Instead of having absolute and unalienable rights guaranteed under the organic constitution, we the people now have relative rights or privileges. One example is the sovereign's right to travel, which has now been transformed under corporate government policy into a privilege that requires citizens to be licensed. By passing the Act of 1871, Congress committed treason against the people, who were sovereign under the grants and decrees of the Declaration of Independence and the Organic Constitution. The Act of 1871 became the foundation of all the treasons committed by all government officials. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. To all corrupt governments on our world, expect us.
Edwards Air Force Base, Mojave Desert, California, nearly 100 miles north of Los Angeles. This is home to virtually every significant experimental aircraft ever flown. Here, secreted away in a hangar, is a revolutionary aircraft. The Air Combat Command's USAF YAL 747. It's not the speed or how high it can fly that makes it so special. It's the cargo. The world's first airborne directed energy weapon. The airborne laser, also known as the ABL. Just mounting the ABL requires one of the most sophisticated and elaborate modifications in history. The entire nose section is removed and retrofitted, and the world's largest titanium plate is installed to hold the enormous turret-mounted laser in place. The ABL system is designed to find, track, and destroy an enemy target in the air and on the ground. It can loiter at 40,000 feet for 5 hours, refuel in midair, and destroy a target 60 miles away in less than a second.
So in the future, it will not be aircraft in a dogfight. It will be aircraft at a distance being brought down by laser beams.
The Airborne Laser Project was launched in 1996 at a cost of over $1.5 billion. The weapon is projected to be combat-ready by 2015. There's also the fear that it could trigger a super high-tech arms race. Today, with lasers installed in virtually everything we use, from computers to CD players to video game systems, how long until our enemies have access to cheap, high-powered laser weapons?
In the era of energy weapons, we're almost certainly going to see exactly the same kind of arms race that we've seen with nuclear weapons and with other kind of weapons before them. The fact is that if the United States develops powerful lasers, other nations will develop powerful lasers.
Hey guys, it's 11:30 a.m. on October 10th, 2017, and I just want to go over some basic facts with you guys about fires. The average house fire burns at a temperature of about 1100 degrees Fahrenheit, which isn't hot enough to destroy most metals and earthly made substances. And if an item is well placed and small in size, its chances of survival increase drastically. Let's take a look at the burning point of a couple of materials. Glass burns at around 2600 to 2900 degrees Fahrenheit, which is more than double the regular temperature of house fires or forest fires. Let's see what we can find out about aluminum. Aluminum melts at around 1220 degrees. Some alloys burn a little bit hotter, around 1900 degrees. Now let's take a look at what the National Institute of Fire Safety and Safety Training say what will not generally burn in a house fire. Jewelry, because it's metal. Silver coins, because they're metal. Filing cabinets, steel filing cabinets are built to last so that businesses won't have to deal with the loss of important files after building fires. Many people keep personal documents in filing cabinets, which are often kept in home offices. And it says here that silver burns around 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's go down to barbecue grills, cookware, some appliances, stone table, fire safes. Let's see, it says here about tools. Because the melting point of carbon steel is between 2600 and 28 degrees Fahrenheit. And the melting point of stainless steel is roughly 2700 degrees. So you're not going to see your barbecues melt. You're not going to see your ovens and your most of your appliances. They're not going to melt. They'll be burned, they'll be damaged, but they're not going to melt. It's common to find an appliance or two that remains intact. There's chaos around there, but many appliances these days are made with stainless steel, which gives them a sleek and design durability. So a lot of people have these things, but the metal, the frame itself of these things is not going to melt. So let's take a peek at what happened here. Well, let me just show you some pictures here of normal house fires. What's usually left afterwards. There's a bunch of rubble and everything's black. Usually the frames of the buildings stand. And there's a bunch of crap around the trees, or around the place, buildings. The frame of the building stays intact. The entire building does not disappear. There's still debris. There's a huge debris field after these things. You see there's like gutters and stuff. And the wood, even though it does burn, it doesn't totally burn. Now this is white stuff from what they put the fire out with, but generally you see that all of these houses, every one of them is black. Now this car was right next to a fire, and it still has glass. Its wheels are still intact. This thing actually burned, but it didn't melt the tires. It didn't melt the glass of the vehicle. You see all the rubble? This is just rubble because these places implode. After the structure falls apart, it collapses. But you still see they're all singed. They're all black. And even in the forest fires, the trees themselves are still black. And you can see, you have bricks on the bottom, and not all the aluminum siding or vinyl siding melts. Look at the structure, the outward frame of the houses still stands. But that's not what we see in these crazy forest fires. The entire things just disappear. Should be visible to the people with eyes to see. Here's this neighborhood before. And I want you to look, you guys, there's absolutely nothing left. You don't see any part of any of the structures anywhere. This isn't possible. There's something else going on here.
have been playing with this thing.
Alleged to.
Alleged to, right.
Yeah.
Now, we realize that for decades now, these governments have been alleged to have experimented with weather control, but nothing conclusive. This time we're digging into the laws of physics rather than simply waving our hands and uttering mumbo-jumbo. We're actually using trillion-watt lasers now.
Laser has a power of 1 watt, and if you don't want to use your energy to strike your match, you can just hold it in the beam of light.
A 1 watt laser can light a match. Imagine then the power of a 500 trillion watt laser. That's exactly what they've built here at the National Ignition Facility in California, where engineers have just finished constructing the laser to end all lasers.
And now we're learning that scientists and researchers are looking at how to change the weather on purpose. That's right, lasers now.
This was from the military news. It's about aircraft laser-borne weaponry, a Boeing YAL-1. And look for the blue flashes, folks. That's what we saw in the skies. Those are the lasers being used, that they're pulsing the electromagnetic fields of plasmic energy that they excite with the winds in order to direct the direct fields. See the blue? These are caused by these laser beams. And we'll get into the whole thing about lasers and when they're created here in a little bit. But look at the blue, folks. That's what many comments, and I saw it as well. We saw blue sparks or flashes in the sky. And that's what they were, is these little blue beams of laser energy. Right there. See it? That's what we saw. So this is proof pretty positive that this was a laser-directed energy weapons used on the Northern Cal fires here. This is in the coffee district here, which we're talking about, that got attacked. Notice they're completely obliterated. All right, so this is Santa Rosa in the area. This is pictures similar to the ones I took the other day in the coffee district area. Again, you can see the ridge fires coming up. Take a look at this, folks. See the stone block wall? It's all gone, folks. The heat had to be enough to melt the wall. Columns were melted. Wrought iron steel melted. No glass. 2,600 degrees to melt glass. No glass. How about metal tires? We saw the rims, and there's no rubber at all on any of the tires. The rubbers were completely gone. Well, here it says in sciencing, if you put a rubber tire in a furnace, even a hot one, it won't melt. The tires are vulcanized, which means they're through a process that combines the rubber molecules with carbon and other elements to prevent them from oxidizing or burning. It's why hot rodders can burn rubber without setting anything on fire. And the fires are said to merge. They're bringing people down, firemen from Idaho, Washington, Oregon. They're planning it to merge and continue on. This is a picture from down the road. There's a Hilton Hotel, or what was the Hilton Hotel, and the Fountain Grove Inn right below it, which was. But look at the steel. Look at the steel melted and twisted, folks. That means the temperatures was above 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. It wasn't a firestorm because it happened right away.
This was a USA something wildfire. So this is a new trend we're seeing, where the entire building just disappears. There's absolutely nothing left, and that's what we're seeing again here. And this is becoming a growing trend, guys. There's no explanation for it. I want to show you a couple of things here that should really be visible to the people with eyes to see. Here's this neighborhood before. And I want you to look, you guys. There's absolutely nothing left. You don't see any part of any of the structures anywhere. This isn't possible. There's something else going on here. Something else going on here. The entire building. Everything's gone but the trees. One washing machine. But where are the granite countertops? Where are the glass doors? Where's any of the metal framing? Where's the bricks? Where's any of the stuff that held these houses together? And why isn't there any rubble? But the tree is still standing. And the grasses are still here. But the cars that were left have no glass. They're all smashed to pieces. Look at this, the garbage cans. Come on, guys, all the garbage cans are here. But But look at the cars. Look at the condition of these vehicles. Look at this. This is all smashed and bent. And look at the twigs on the ground. These things should have caught on fire. How come there's pine needles and stuff all in the path? Why isn't there anything standing whatsoever but the trees? This is supposed to be a forest fire. How come the forest didn't catch on fire? Not even the tree branches. Look at, there's just twigs and stuff everywhere. Why did the twigs not burn? But every single solitary piece of 2x4 that built these houses is standing. I mean, isn't standing, it's gone. It's all disappeared. There's no aluminum siding. There's no bricks. There's nothing.
Focus on today is why are these fires happening in California? I tried to explain to you that China owns California. They actually own all of it, and they also own Hawaii, but they own a lot more than that. They're coming in to destroy America. They're going to turn us into a third world country. I actually believe that Rothschild is basically the CEO of this planet, and he's just adjusting everything the way he wants, okay? And we are selling all our secrets to China as well, and all of these things going on. But I'm going to show you how they're doing it, how they're destroying America from the inside out. We did go over the Deagle.com. It's obvious something not good is going to happen to America. So let's start with this. The West Coast housing crisis drives up U.S. homeless numbers. Yeah, it's all part of the plan. China is coming in to get this property. So the homeless population in the U.S. has increased this year for the first time since 2010, driven by a surge in the number of people living on the streets in West Coast cities. Yeah. Rents have soared beyond affordability for many lower-paid workers, and now even a temporary setback can be enough to leave them out on the streets. Yes, they're getting us out of our homes through an economical way. Okay, so the study by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development revealed nearly 554,000 homeless people across the U.S. during local tallies conducted in January, up nearly 1% from 2016. So of the total of 193,000 who had no shelter, they had no shelter and were forced to live all over, including cars, tents, and streets. The unsheltered figure rose by over 9% compared to 2 years ago, 2015. Do you remember how we defaulted with China in 2015 in April? And so what they did is allowed them the right to take our property. That's what's going on, okay? So in order to keep this kind of streamlined, believe it or not, it was getting too long. This is take number 2. So to increase, it's almost entirely due to a surge in homelessness in Los Angeles and other cities facing severe shortages of affordable housing, says HUD officials. The increase is almost entirely due. It's entirely due to all of the weather warfare going on, just so you know. Okay? So, overall homeless population in California, Oregon, and Washington soared by 14% over the past 2 years. It's being done by design. Okay, that's what I want you to know. Climbed to 23% to 108,000 in Seattle. And the unsheltered population grew by 44% over 2 years to nearly 5,500 Sacramento, California. which also had a 1-year increase of over 1,000 homeless people. Okay, kind of yakking on there. So let's get into, let's see. Let me show you. The U.S. gives China eminent domain over our U.S. property. So we do have to go back in time, people, okay? Of the 08, 09, these things, these take steps. Everything that they do takes decades to put together. So we're in these, I wouldn't say the final thrones of it, but it's certainly not looking good, not boding well for America. Now, I don't know where Trump sits on this, okay? This is done between the Clintons and China. So they are definitely guilty there. So let's connect some dots today, boys and girls, to learn about the highest possible treason that has happened in this country. This is February 09. Okay, this is as real and as ugly as it can get. Number 1, China begins its covert war on the free American Republic in the 1950s by taking over much of the pharmaceutical drug manufacturing for American and British Big Pharma. Woo! I did not know that, people. That explains the over 100,000 Americans who die every year from taking their pharmaceuticals properly. And the whole pharmaceutical company, over 250,000 die from just Big Pharma altogether, okay, the medical services and all of that. So this is an outgrowth of the Rothschilds opium ring processing. There you go. By the British West Indies Company during the 1800s. Yes, things have not stopped. And it's brokered by the City of London and Washington, D.C. Number 2, arch-illuminist and Satanist Henry Kissinger, whom Putin claims is his best buddy, normalizes trade relations with China during the Nixon years. Again, it takes decades to do this goal of destroying America from the inside out. Number 3, eventual LDS Mormon Church, Hinckley, via the church-owned Polynesian Cultural Center in Hawaii, establishes a hard currency pipeline with Beijing, exchanging bank trade credits for CIA British M16 drug services rendered into hard gold and silver, while hiding behind the cloak of world religion. This is facilitated by the LDS Church, built and controlled the Cham Special Economic Zone adjacent to Hong Kong. So when Hinckley is made LDS president, his first official visit as world prophet is to China, where the Chinese communist leaders give him a hero's welcome and a confetti parade. Number 4, Arkansas natives Bill Clinton and Sam Walton massively increased contracts with China's factories over 2,000%. This results in a tremendous imbalance of trade with China. Thanks to the Mormons' special economic zone, China's communist leaders began amassing incredible real wealth in gold and silver. Number 5, China purchases trillions. Here's what really screwed us up. It was all deliberate. China purchases trillions of dollars worth of U.S. Treasury bills and bonds, paying for it with gold and silver provided by the Shenzhen Economic Zone Exchange. I'm sure I said it wrong. Much of the U.S. national debt is purchased from the private Federal Reserve banks in this manner. Number 6, Dr. Jeff Thallenberger of the U.S. Institute of Pathology in Fort Detrick and the world headquarters for biologic weapons development successfully maps the genome of the 1918 killer flu virus responsible for the 1918 pandemic that killed millions. The worst killer virus ever to plague mankind is now ready to be used as a covert weapon disguised as a natural influenza mutation. Yeah, you know, these guys have always got diabolical crap going on in the background, man. That's just how they function. I'm just letting you see this. You have to go back in time to see it. So here we are, 2005. The Illuminati-controlled United Nations announces that the world is long overdue for an influenza pandemic. The H5N1 avian flu is wrongfully demonized as a cover. Okay, so it was a bioweapon. Whoops, knocking my stuff around. Number 7, December 2005, Chinese Defense Minister Heyoten delivers a speech to the Chinese military leaders outlining the inevitable expansion of China into Canada, the U.S., and Australia. This is 05. He justifies this because of Chinese radical superiority and thus eminent domain. To accomplish this, Americans would first have to be cleansed by means of a powerful biological weapon, causing 150 to 200 million American deaths. Yeah, what they're doing in California is not a sweet thing. Okay, they're getting rid of the Americans. China is coming in to take California over. The plan would be enacted after the symbolic Olympic Games, beginning at the sacred day of 888. That's interesting. Are concluded. China begins buying oil and gas futures, spiking the worldwide prices to historic levels. Number 8, March 13th, 313, 2008, a secret meeting is conducted for the U.S. House and Senate. Agents of the Club of Rome give a preview of upcoming events to elected officials who first swear an oath of secrecy. The traitors are briefed that the economy, here it is, will begin its collapse, all by design, in October 2008 and will totally collapse in mid-2009. As events unfold in 2009 and 10, which I was severely attacked in 09. I mean, there was definitely something going on there. They claimed that we had an AI come back through time travel and create Bitcoin. I don't know, but something strange about 09. I have to say, we could have been visited by some dark force of some kind. I mean, it was brutal what I went through. So as events unfolded in 2009 and 10, Congress was told of the real possibility of massive civil unrest and even civil war being waged. Detention camps constructed to imprison civil agitators. Number 9, in September 2008, as soon as the Olympics are concluded, China stops buying oil and gas futures while dumping U.S. Treasury bills and bonds. Gasoline prices plummet while the U.S. mortgage loan money becomes tightly constricted. Wasn't that 2008, our housing crisis? Was that 2008? Did I get that wrong? It might have been 2004. So the Club of Rome's agenda is being implemented perfectly. Yes. Number 10, in October, just as explained in March, the economy indeed begins its collapse, with mortgage banks going bankrupt as the Chinese dump their U.S. securities. This causes a worldwide rush to liquidity as money supplies dramatically tighten. I'm also going to bring to you the Russian side of how much property they own in our country too, okay? It gives you a better idea. So number 11, billions of worthless U.S. government bailout debt entries are given to bolster failing U.S. banks. These are worthless because China now controls most of the U.S. real wealth in the form of gold and silver. China refuses to continue investing credit loans to the U.S. Treasury. Number 12, Barack Obama is elected, promising change you can believe in to screw over America. Thank you. After taking office in January, Obama sends Hillary Clinton on a critical mission to China and helps write H.R. 45, a complete grab of America's guns. Ally Adolf Hitler, state leaders who understand what Clinton and Obama agenda with China is about, and they are seeking legal sovereignty to prevent the loss of property to a foreign power. Now here's the enchilada, number 13. China agrees to continue investing in U.S. Treasury bills only after securing the right of eminent domain to physically repossess foreclosed American private property. Think about the storm sales. Think about the 600 acres that China just bought in Texas, too, through the storm sales, most likely. That's why I was saying you got to be careful who you were selling your property to. It's China. So, foreclosed American private property. This move is the equivalent of an unconstitutional surrender following a bloody war. This also gives the Chinese military the legal right to use biological weaponry to clean up America all at once. It gives them the legal right to use deadly force in removing trespassing Americans from occupying Chinese real estate. Hence, the fires in California right now. It gives them the right to use deadly force to get you off their property. Connect these 13 evil dots, and this is what you get. So anyway, the feds grant eminent domain as collateral to China for U.S. debt. Sources at the U.S. Embassy in Beijing, China, have just confirmed that the United States of America has tendered to China a written agreement which grants to the People's Republic of China an option to exercise eminent domain within the U.S. as collateral for China's continued purchase of U.S. Treasury notes and existing U.S. currency reserves. The written agreement was brought to Beijing by Secretary of State Hillary Clinton the traitor, and was formalized and agreed to during her recent trip to China. This means that in the event the U.S. government defaults on its financial obligations to China, the Communist government of China would be permitted to physically take inside of the USA land, buildings, factories, and perhaps even entire cities to satisfy the financial obligations of the U.S. government. Put simply, the feds have now actually mortgaged the physical land and property of all citizens and businesses in the United States. They've given it to a foreign power, their constitutional power, to take all of our property as actual collateral for continued Chinese funding of U.S. deficit spending and the continuing carrying of the U.S. national debt. This is an unimaginable betrayal of every man, woman, and child in the USA, an outrage worthy of violent overthrow. I want to show you where they actually took over Hawaii and California. Eminent domain is the power of the government to take private property for public use. This happened too, without the consent of the property owner. Under our Constitution, the government can only take when providing just compensation for what they've taken. But who decides what is just compensation? All right, so I need to get into this part. The U.S. goes belly up, and China comes in and says they owed us $2 trillion in Treasury notes and another $2 trillion in actual cash money, which is now worthless. And we are taking the entire state. I'm going to end it right here. Well, almost. We are taking the entire state of Hawaii and the entire state of California in lieu of this bad debt. With the stroke of a Chinese chopstick, Hawaii and California, all the land and the buildings in those states are now owned by China. Okay, there you go. Now, real quick, because this is getting lengthy, Chinagate. Chinagate is about selling our technology through the Clinton Foundation to the Chinese. Okay, and you know what I don't like about what's going on with this is the fact that if the one thing about that Paul Begley interview that got my attention, that if it was being used as predictive programming, in the end of the article, he says, well, the NSA guy is saying we have to spend billions of dollars on our technology because we're so far behind, when in fact, we are creating technology and giving it to all these countries. So it's just another way, guys, to increase our debt so China can take more of the land. That's how they're doing it. The deeper in debt, the more land China owns in America. And you're going to see that Russia owns a lot as well. So lest we forget Chinagate, the most serious scandal in the U.S. history. Well, it's neck and neck. I'm just going to show you real quick. The Chinagate funding scandal plagued in the 1996 Bill Clinton-Al Gore campaign. Yes, it goes back in time. It involves the transfer of America's most sensitive technology, including but not limited to nuclear missiles, satellite technology, and apparently in exchange for millions of dollars in contributions to the 1996 Clinton-Gore re-election effort and the Democratic National Committee. Yeah, the Chinagate scandal of 96 ended up in an award of $900,000 in attorney fees and costs to Judicial Watch 10 years later. The main thing here, we're going to keep this short, as I showed you the other day. Okay, they've been selling these guys. Clinton, she does need to go to jail, man. She's guilty of treason on a scale that's off the charts. I hope this helps, and we're going to be going into Uranium-1 on the next video, but I haven't forgotten about AI either. Okay, that's coming up. Okay, I'm going to keep it at that. That's what's going on. China owns California and Hawaii, and we sold our technology secrets, and now, according to the Paul Begley video yesterday, we now need to spend billions of dollars. Watch this play out in the government now. Oh, we got to have billions of dollars because our technology is behind the times, when in fact, they're giving all our technology away.
However, there is something that could settle this debate of where the Chinese come from once and for all. I'm meeting Professor Jin Li, one of China's leading geneticists. Recently, he led a project that set out to prove that the Chinese evolved independently from everyone else, from Homo erectus, here in China.
Before the project started, I was hoping that I could identify or could be able to find the evidence that support independent origin of Chinese in China, because I'm a Chinese and came from China, and through the education process, I always believed that there's something special about Chinese.
He singled out a male genetic marker which only appeared about 80,000 years ago in Africa. So any man who carries that marker must have recent African ancestors and can't be descended from the more ancient Asian Homo erectus. Jin took DNA from over 160 ethnic groups around East Asia. Over 12,000 samples. And so, what did you find?
We did not see even one single individual that could be considered as the descendant of the Homo erectus in China. Rather, everybody was a descendant of our ancestors from Africa.
The result couldn't have been any clearer. And how did that make you feel as a Chinese person?
After I saw the evidences that we generate in my laboratory, I think we should all be happy with that, because after all, modern humans from different part of the world are not so different from each other, and we are very close relatives.
That's great, thank you.
Combo, this one where you wear canopy for this kind of hot sun.
Hey man, what's your business, man? What's your business? Now let me tell you something, because you don't know nothing. What's the problem, man? Okay, tell me, how they said when I wear for body now take me your concern? How they concern you, man?
I just show my concern, no.
Okay.
You just invite him.
Wool up, nigga. Wool up. Just wool up. What's the business, man? Because I'm here with you. You think you're operating in somewhere there? Man, you don't know nothing, man. You know what you are? EP, a.k.a. Enemy of Progress. Now, listen. Have you been to South Africa before? Joburg, a.k.a. Johannesburg. You haven't been there before? Oh, no way. You've never been to South Africa before? So me, you know what I'm saying? You get out of here right now.
You just invite heat rashes.
Do me a favor.
Dusting powder don't increase, though.
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man. Shit, you know what I'm saying? Get in Igbo. Get out of here for real. You know what I'm saying? Get out of here for real. You know what I'm saying? Get out of here.
Waiting concern.
Yeah, motherfucker, man. I'm saying. Holla. Pull up. Shit. Saying you don't know nothing, but I'm gonna tell you something. What I'm saying, and yo, nigga, man.
The last point I'm going to make on this is that Africans and Negroes are two different peoples. The last point I'm going to make on this is that Africans and Negroes are two different peoples. You know, race and skin colour are really a red herring. Okay, it's a kind of divisive lie that has been put about, and I'm going to go into this a bit more in detail. Yeah, to separate people by perceived race is a distraction. Okay, so we all think that all black people are the same, basically, but they're not. Africans and Negroes are different. They have a different skeletal structure, different skull shape, and one interesting thing is African people, real Africans, cannot grow hair like Negroes can. So African men cannot grow beards. All right? African women cannot grow afros. Right? It's a very powerful thing. If you see real African women, you'll see that they've always got very, very short hair because literally they can't grow it.
38-year-old Avon Dugar from Louisiana has the world's largest afro, measuring a staggering 4 foot and 4 inches around.
It's been 14 years since I actually went natural. At one time I strived to get the hair that was bone straight, and now I want it big and poofy. To get all the attention in public is always a positive thing, because it's not like people really come up and say anything mean. Usually that's why my hair's in my face, because then it kind of protects me and makes me feel a little more comfortable.
Avon has been growing her hair since she was a child, and 3 years ago achieved her dream of securing a Guinness World Record.
The first measurement in 2010, I think it was 4 feet 4 inches around. I'm not sure how big it can get, but I mean, you know, I'll try as long as I can. Yeah, I never wear
that's a real natural hair. Damn, that's real nice, bro.
Thank you.
With a world record under her belt, it's no surprise she attracts attention wherever she goes, and has become an inspiration to others. Like her hairdresser, Toby Johnson.
This is the greatest hair I've ever seen. It is natural and just beautiful.
Pow! It's beautiful. Basically, Avon inspired me to go natural.
When I saw it, I was just like, it was still big, you know? Part of me wanted to lay in it.
Although Avon enjoys the attention her hair has brought her, taking care of it isn't an easy job.
It would take a day and a half for it to dry, almost 2 days. Like, people think I'm joking. I remember washing my hair on a Sunday. I put it in braids, I let it dry. By Wednesday night, it was still damp.
Avon has recently come out of a long-term relationship, and she worries that her hair could distract men when getting to know her.
I guess it would be one of those things that if I see where we're actually getting close and, you know, moving on to another level, I'd be like, oh, hey, by the way, you know, I have really big hair. No, I did tell one guy, and he was shocked, and then he Googled me and was like, oh wow, this and that. And he actually, when I saw him again, he was wearing a fro.
And she's had a great response to her world record.
The reaction in my hometown was actually very positive. Everybody was just so proud of me, and like they kept saying, you're a celebrity. I'm like, do not call me that, I just have big hair.
However, the original inspiration for Avon's afro came when she saw a photo of her mother with one in the 60s.
I am really proud and humbled by the fact that she thinks it's because she liked my natural hair way before she was born.
And with her place in the record book secured, she has no plans to take a trim just yet.
Do I see myself cutting my hair? No, I don't think so. Me straightening my hair wasn't going to change who I am. You know, I'm still Avon. I'm still an African American, and as far as, you know, putting chemicals in my hair, what's the point?
World record under her belt, it's no surprise she attracts attention wherever she goes, and has become an inspiration to others. Like her hairdresser, Toby Johnson.
This is the greatest hair I've ever seen. It is natural and just beautiful.
African people, real Africans, cannot grow hair like Negroes can.
What happened? Huh? Don't nobody know nothing? I'll be a motherfucker. Don't nobody know nothing? What up with this? Somebody got to know something was going on.
I mean, we are African, brother. That's right. Mother Africa's the only salvation.
Sit your $5 ass down before I make change.
You got people that say, well, he got all this money. Why he's not giving to Africa?
Right.
Well, what is Africa giving to us?
Right.
Well, what is Africa giving to us? What if Africa came and gave to my children, to my family?
Message. Some of them Africans do not like us. Black Americans, they can't stand us. From the East Coast, you know what I'm talking about.
Africans don't even fuck with people from here, bro. And anybody who say they're from Africa, bro, that's some dumb shit. Africans can tell you fucking Africans. Africans don't even want to be claimed with you guys. Like, that's just the difference. Africans is totally separate.
Oh, hold on, where you from?
I'm from Liberia.
Should be mad. We should be mad at their ass. You know what I'm saying? I give white people props on this. When y'all have hostages, y'all go get them. I don't give a fuck if it's 2. Technically, we've been hostages in this country for 450 years. Not one canoe with a nigga with a spear has shown up to pick us the fuck up. Not one canoe with a nigga with a spear has shown up to pick us the fuck up. Message.
I've been to a couple of countries and I've worked with different groups of people from Africa, different countries in Africa. And in the course of us working together and talking, and slavery comes up in the conversation. So I asked a simple question, and I got a simple answer for it. This is from people of every region that I had talked to. And I asked them, I said, was there any like verbal history told in Africa as of slavery and the people getting stolen and or sold off or whatever and sent away to America? And they said no. I'm like, okay, well, how did you learn about slavery? They said in school. Yeah, in school taught by Westerners.
When I was in Nigeria, I did not know of the African American story until I got to America. And found out.
That's true.
Right? I did not know anything about slavery.
And white people, that slavery shit. Ah, shit. I ain't even mad at y'all about that. For real. You know what I'm saying? Black people, we be fucking with y'all about this shit. Because ain't a brother or sister in this room that has been a slave. We ain't none of us picked no fucking cotton. We wouldn't have known shit about it if y'all hadn't have made the movie Roots. fucked up right there. It wasn't like they taught it in school. Chapter 7, slavery. Chapter 8, beat a nigga ass. They never taught us. When that fucking movie Roots came on, that shocked the shit out of every black man in this room. And when we just like, what the fuck? That's how it was? You know what I'm saying? Remember? White people, y'all remember? The next day we came to school and beat the shit out of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Remember? White people, y'all remember? The next day we came to school and beat the shit out of y'all. I know that's a traumatic experience. You have to remember.
Message.
White people, when y'all get mad at us, please stop saying this shit. Why don't you go back to Africa? What? How the fuck we gonna go back to some shit we ain't never been to? How the fuck we gonna go back to some shit we ain't never been to? Y'all act like we born with maps of that motherfucker in our head. Like we'll just land over there. Take me to Shambuku's house.
Message.
And if you ask some questions on the slave trade, you will see that the story is bullshit. Question number 1. Where are all the boats that brought these slaves over here?
You know,
if you look at the map, did anybody ever question the fact of Europe being in such close proximity with Northwest Africa? Why would somebody go all the way around down to the middle, grab Africans from there, then go all the way west? Wouldn't it be simpler to just start at the top and work your way down?
It would cost about it would cost about the same as what we would spend over the course of 10 years. It would cost what it would cost us.
What African nation is claiming that you're her lost people?
Why
are Africans coming over? If Africa is the richest continent on the planet, why are their sons and daughters fleeing or coming to America?
Here, I know, look.
Well, look, I mean, if this is being, but let me just speak more generally.
Message.
So, and by the way, you know the Zulu thing? When Oprah was finally in the first series, and we gave her DNA test, basically the next day she went to South Africa to announce and that she was Zulu. So it broke on CNN. I was sitting in my living room minding my own business and said, Oprah Winfrey's a Zulu. So I called Rick Kittles, and I said, Rick, did you tell Oprah she was a Zulu? He goes, no, man, she made that up herself. He goes, no, man, she made that up herself. I would lie to make you laugh, but I'm telling you a true story. So I said, Rick, are you in your lab? He said, yeah. I said, is anybody there? He said, no. I said, when the results come in, make her Zulu, man. You know? I said, you back there making it up anyway. I said, you back there making it up anyway. Nobody believe you can take some spit and figure out a tribe? What are you, crazy?
Message.
I'm going to let you in on a little secret.
How can I trust you?
Just have to make up your own damn mind to either accept what I'm going to tell you or reject it.
Some people were ashamed to even say they was Native American again, especially living in an African American community. Because then they told me they was looked upon as being a traitor or trying to be something that they were not. But then they knew their grandmother was an Indian. But then they knew their grandmother was an Indian.
Happy Freedom Day.
Welcome. Craig, Monique's husband. You're familiar. Cherokee? No, just black. You're familiar. Cherokee? No, just black. No. Cherokee Town and Country Club. You remember, right?
No.
You sure?
Yes. You must be confusing me with some other black guy.
Mama knew what she was talking about, but I always thought that she wanted to be something that we wasn't. And I remember I used to say, Mama, we black. She said, I don't care black. She said, you're the Indian. She said, I don't care black. She said, you're the Indian. I will never forget that. I was about 7 years old.
Message!
When this particular lands of Natick was given, it was given from the people, the native people on the land, which was John Speed.
The massive Indian populations outside the praying towns decided they could not accommodate. They really didn't want English culture. They didn't want to lose their land, and they revolted.
About 550 praying Indians were deported to Deer Island. The winter was brutal. The praying Indians were poorly dressed and sheltered.
The native people are almost synonymous with nature and the land. So to give up your land is to give up parts of your very own body.
The colonists deported many of the Pequot warriors to the West Indies aboard the ship Desiree. In 1638, Desiree returned to Massachusetts. According to John Winthrop, then governor of the colony, it was loaded with salt, cotton, tobacco, and Negroes.
This is my grandmother's birth certificate. That's her mother's maiden name that you see there, Lottie Mae. It's supposed to be Lottie Mae Moses before she got married to my great-grandfather, Eli Boyd. You can see that this is official. This right here is a census that they did. They dated as the 1940s, the Bishopville, Lee County, South Carolina. Here is my grandfather, Eli Boyd. Here is my great-grandmother, Lottie. This is my grandmother. Oh, look, she was 8 then. They have them classified as Negroes. Let's go and check if he's on the DOS roll. Eli Boyd, Chickasaw Freeman. My grandmother, Lottie Moses, Choctaw. Wow.
Message!
My name is Janet Washington, and I'm 100 years old.
Where are you from?
Clarksdale, Mississippi.
And what year were you born?
1916. I grew up on a plantation. The name of the plantation was Cain and Anderson Plantation. In the country, we were living on a white man's farm.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents raised cotton and corn.
Do you consider yourself as an American?
Yeah, I am American.
You are American?
Yeah. I consider myself a colored person.
A colored person?
Yeah.
When did they switch over from colored people to black people?
They just started coloring people black, I guess, because there was a lot of African people in the United States back in those days.
There was Africans, and then there was Americans?
Yeah.
And they spoke a different language?
Oh, yeah, because you couldn't understand the language.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
No.
So on a plantation, you'd have Americans, and then you'd have Africans.
Message!
You know what that means? It's Latin. Means know thyself.
Very quickly, Adam was not the very first man. The Bible is only covering a period of time which is about 7,000 years, the last 7,000 years of Earth's history. It doesn't cover before that period. There were people before that period, and the first verses of the Bible actually tell you that if you read it properly and you read it with the translating the Paleo-Hebrew. Some of the words aren't translated quite correctly, and you know, gives you the impression that it's all happening contemporaneously, but it's not. It's actually there's like a gap period in between the first two verses. So the biblical Israelites were black. It says that Ham, this is according to the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, Ham was the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes. They're separate people. But the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, Canaanites. So it's telling you there that, again, the Egyptians and what became the Africans were black people. So going through the Bible, I'm not going to go through all of these, but yeah, Joseph in the Bible was so much like an Egyptian that his own brothers didn't recognize him. So obviously he looked like an Egyptian, so you know the Israelites were black people. Moses was also an Israelite, but he was raised under the nose of Pharaoh, so you know he'd kind of stand out if he was a white guy. And he was also mistaken as an Egyptian by the daughters of the priests of Midian. And also Moses' sister, Miriam, was turned white as a punishment. So there's a lot more biblical references that tell you that the Israelites were actually black people. But yeah, you can like go through it in the Bible. And throughout the what's called the Renaissance period, all of the artwork was replaced throughout Europe. But because Russia, well, it was a kind of insular society at that time, Renaissance didn't get to Russia. So you can go online and search for Russian icons, and you'll find that everybody who was portrayed in the Bible were portrayed black. And yeah, after the Renaissance, all that artwork was destroyed and replaced with whitenized versions. But you know, 500 years ago, prior to 500 years ago, this is how they were always depicted. And the last thing is that this man is the ex-president of Egypt, and he was quoted on television to say, "We can't accept the Jews because they left here black but came back white." So, and he literally said that on television. And yeah, he was murdered not long after that. So yeah, in Psalms it tells you that that all the nations were going to come against these people, and they were going to make sure that their name would be forgotten, and they would forget who they are. And that's what's happened. And all these nations are confederate against them. These are all the nations that Esau mixed with. Because Esau felt cheated of his birthright, yeah, the ancestral hatred has remained, yeah, even though he's been spread out across all these different nations. So when the Europeans came to get slaves, not a single African went into slavery. What happened was the slavers came for the Judeans, the Negroes, and it was the Africans who actually sold them into slavery. It was the Arabs and the Africans who sold them into slavery. Right? They didn't sell themselves into slavery. It was the Africans were selling the outsiders, the ones who came in and were actually prospering in the wilderness of their land. So so that dispels that myth that Africans were selling each other into slavery. So on a similar note, who were the Spartans? In one of the books that were left out of the Bible, the Maccabees, it tells you that the Spartans were brethren of the Jews there, the Judites there. There's a letter to the Lacedaemonians, as they were called, saying, "Look, we're brothers. Let's make a pact. Let's join together." So it tells you right there that the Spartans were actually black people as well. So that film should have had Denzel Washington playing the guy. So, yeah. So, and who were the Trojans? Well, this was quite amazing for me because I just happened to be reading the Iliad at one point, and I was researching this. And as I was looking at the genealogy chart in the 1611 Bible, the names started to match up with what I was reading in the Iliad. So one of the sons, or great-great-grandsons of Judah, was a guy called Dada. And again, it's in the Iliad that Dada, or Dardanus, was the father of Erichthonius, who was the father of King Chus, who founded Troy. So again, the Israelites were the Trojans. So the Trojans were black too. Slaves also came from Europe. And this is the evidence of it. Obviously, evidence of this kind is kind of scant. You can't find very much around. But every now and again, you find some bit of writing that gives you clues. This is from Benjamin Franklin, 1751. And he says, why should Pennsylvania, founded by the English, become a colony of aliens who will shortly be so numerous as to Germanize us instead of us Anglifying them, and will never adopt our language or customs any more than they can acquire our complexion? Okay, saying that they weren't black people. Says, which leads me to add one remark: the number of purely white people in the world is proportionably very small. All of Africa is black or tawny, brown. Asia, chiefly tawny. America, exclusive of the newcomers, wholly so. And in Europe, the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians and Swedes are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion. Swarthy means black. As are the Germans also. Okay, so he underlines the point: why increase the sons of Africa by planting them in America? So literally, the Germans and most Europeans at that time, 1751, were black people. Yeah, history has been rewritten. So this is one of the journeys of the people from the what's known as the Holy Land, from Israel right now. These are the people called the Iba. Again, very similar to the Ibo and the Igbo tribes in Africa, because Iba comes from the patriarch Eba, who was where the name Hebrew comes from. Okay, so the Iba travelled across southern Europe and ended up in a place they named after themselves, the Iberian Peninsula. And when they were chased out of that area by the barbarians, they founded another country called Hibernia. Again, they named it after themselves. Hibernia means land of the Hebrews. And some of them went on to colonize another country, Scotland. And the only name that survives is Hebrides. Okay. So the Irish were originally black people, and this is an illustration from a magazine, Harper's Weekly, from the 1800s, and it actually tells you in there, if I'd left the whole thing, it says the Iberians were believed to originally be an African race, okay? And you can see how the Irish Iberians started off like this, mixed with these, and became... this was kind of a sort of midway transitional stage. But if you look at the Iberian writing of the time, it's almost exactly the same as the Paleo-Hebrew script, right? Saying that these guys came from Jerusalem, basically. Britain actually started through a black Hebrew Israelite who was a Trojan prince. Okay, his name was Brito. It's been anglicised to Brutus. And what happened was, after the fall of Troy, he set out with 300 ships off to find a mythical land in the west. Okay, it's not written there, but he actually went in. He landed in France at one point. He sailed up a French river and started fighting the French, the pre-French, I guess. And him and his men basically fought their way all the way into the interior of France, and realised that they were kind of cut off. His men were all kind of stuck in the middle of France, surrounded by their enemies, and thought, well, you know, we're not going to do very much here, so let's leave. But obviously their mark is still there, Brittany. Yeah, in the past, places got named after the people that were there. So Brittany, Bretagne, is a mark that this man was there. What happened was Brutus, Brito, landed in 1103 BC in Totnes, of all places.
That's correct.
Yeah.
A storm there.
Well, we'll get into that. Yeah. So when he landed here, he found that the country was overrun with red-headed giants, and the king of the giants was called Albion, and that's again places were named after the people. So the country was called Albion. So essentially, Brito and his men killed all the giants apart from one, Albion's brother, called Gog-Magog. He left Gog-Magog alive because one of Brito's men, Quirinius, wanted to fight this 18-foot giant. Right, so the giant was kind of nursed back to health. He had to be nursed back to health so he could fight Quirinius. And this epic battle occurred on Plymouth Hoe. And what happened was Quirinius ended up throwing Gog-Magog over the cliff onto the rocks. And the place was called Lam-Go-Mago, which means Giant's Leap. Okay, but now it's called Plymouth Hoe. So Britannia, or Britannia, was named after Brito or Brutus. Brito in Hebrew is basically something like holder of the covenant. Okay, Britannia means land of the covenant. This is the covenant between Abraham and the Most High. Okay, the Creator, specified in the Bible. When Brutus founded his capital city, he called it Troia Nova, New Troy. Okay, there's a tribe near London called Trinovantes, which is telling you that these people lived near New Troy. And yeah, the Romans renamed it Londinium. So Brutus was part of the royal family. He descended from Judah. He's part of the real royal family. You know, the real royal family is descendant of King David. So he was a direct descendant of King David, part of the Zara side of the family.
Not Pharaohs.
Sorry? Not Pharaohs, no.
Pharaohs was the one that got the inheritance.
Yeah, but still, Zara was part of the royal bloodline.
Ah, but he was born second.
I know, but yeah, but the
royal line.
he's still part of the royal line of Judah, but Pharaohs had the birthright. Yeah, but you'll see what happens is they connect together in the end, in a bloodline. So yeah, the proof of this is in 4th Street in Totnes. You can go right in the street. There's the Brutus stone, which is where he's said to have set foot in Totnes. Also in London, the Church of St Swithin, there's a stone which Brutus brought from Troy, and again you can go to that church and see it. And I already mentioned about the Trinovantes. Also, this is a tapestry showing the epic battle between Quirinius and the red-haired giant at Plymouth Hoe. So Quirinius, after his epic battle, he was given Cornwall, and that's Cornwall was actually named after Quirinius. And And yeah, there were up until I think it's 1486. There were chalk drawings of two giants, or one giant and a smaller man. This was commemorating Quirinius and Gog-Magog. And right here, there's a news story saying that they want to recreate the chalk drawings on Plymouth Hoe. So, and also in the Lord Mayor's Parade in London, they parade two giants, Gog and Magog. It's just a corruption of Gog, Magog and Quirinius. So, as I said, Britain, or British, means land of the covenant. It's a Hebrew word. And as I said, it's a covenant between the Hebrews and the Creator. So, are we keeping the covenant? Just a quick word about the Anglo-Saxons. The word Saxon actually means sons of Isaac. Okay? The Anglo-Saxons means the angelic sons of Isaac. The angelic sons, and there's been some confusion about this, the angelic sons are the ones that exhibited the fallen angel seed. So the original Saxons were dark-skinned, and the Anglo-Saxons were lighter-skinned. And I didn't actually mention this when I was talking about Greece, but this is the modus operandi of this bloodline. Okay, what they would do is, when there was a population they wanted to conquer, they would infiltrate this population. They would sort of arrive in few numbers, and then some more and a few more, until they had enough power, and they would take over that population, become those people, and rewrite history so you don't know about those people. Okay? And the same thing happened in Germany, Saxony. There was the original Saxons, and then this bloodline came in, took over, and they became the Anglo-Saxons. So it kind of brings us to King James the 6th and the 1st. He was a black man. Okay. Now you can go to the National Portrait Gallery and you'll see a white guy looking back at you, but those portraits were basically repainted. Okay, what couldn't be painted over were engravings, and in the 1611 Bible, there's an engraving of a black man. He was actually again an Israelite of the royal house of Judah, descended from the Pharaoh's line. Okay, that came in through France. Sorry, yeah, got that, told you. Yeah, so he was the one who had the Bible translated as faithfully as possible at the time, because it says in the foreword, actually, that there were people, and he meant the Roman Catholic Church, who wanted to destroy the word of the Most High. And he didn't want that to happen, so that's why he had the Bible translated. He sat on the thrones of England, Scotland, Ireland, and France, actually, and he unified them into one kingdom. And I said, there's the bogus painting of James. He's been smeared with allegations of homosexuality and sleeping with his mother, but they're all baseless claims. Because how can you be homosexual and have 9 children with your wife? You have to have an awful lot of sex to get 9 children, I think. So yeah, more pictures, engravings of him. And there's an engraving of James and his wife Anne of Denmark with a afro. Yeah. So he reunited the tribes of Israel in England. Right? The Union Jack means the reunification of Jacob. Okay, that's why under the throne, the coronation throne, is the stone of Scone, which is the stone of destiny, the stone of Jacob, the stone that Jacob rested his head on when he wrestled with an wrestled with an angel. Same thing, really. So yeah, that's why that stone is there, because this country is the New Jerusalem. You know, I probably wondered why that song Jerusalem comes from. Guy Fawkes was actually an agent of the Roman Catholic Church, and he wasn't about trying to get rid of Parliament. He was trying to assassinate James. Yeah, because the Roman Catholic Church wanted to stop the Bible being translated. Probably, but the main aim was to kill James. So this is James' grandson, Charles II. Okay, there's also a white-niced version of him, but one painting did survive, and it matches up with again an engraving of Charles II, and he was the last of the Stuart line. And what happened was the Roman Catholic Church, or let's put it the Ashkenazi bloodline, basically finally succeeded in removing this royal line off the throne, and they replaced it with an Ashkenazi German bloodline. So, what happened to the black peoples of the British Isles? Well, if you look closely at, I just want to draw your attention to one of the definitions of Negro. Number 3, any person with some Negro ancestors. Okay, just keep that in mind.